Leaders, how effective are you with your employee communications? We know that employee communications affects engagement, it affects business results. In today's video, I'm going to share 7 tips to help you be even more successful with your employee communication efforts. I'm Morgan Quist, I'm your Thrival Guide, and I partner with leaders and organizations to help them shift from surviving to thriving in their careers. Tip number 1 is to know your audience. You have various mini cultures throughout your organization. Look into your employee engagement data to get to know them better. Talk to your senior leaders and understand what conversations are going on in the various departments around the successes employees are having, around the challenges they're having, around the company culture and how it's affecting their level of engagement. That's number 1, know your audience. Number 2 is to be clear on your desired outcomes. One of my favorite questions to ask is, what do you want employees to think, do, and feel as a result of these communication efforts? So often we think about communication planning as an intellectual exercise, but as we think about our desired outcomes, we really need to think about the emotional connection with employees, about storytelling, about relationship building. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is if you have an internal communications expert in your organization, to make sure that that person is at the senior leadership table. It'll help ensure that you approach your communication in a strategic way, that you're asking all of the right questions as part of the planning process. They can share the employee perceptions. They can be the employee advocate. So it's critical that they're at the table. That was number 3. Number 4 is a little bit different. It's about how you as a leader, as an individual, interact with employees. And that is to create a pause between your thought and your response with employees, especially if you're frustrated or angry. Because if you react without that pause, you can really, show some frustration and anger that can really damage the relationship and break down trust. So developing that pause, and meditation can help with that, or if you feel yourself getting upset, taking 1 deep breath before you respond or count to 3. But really that relationship building and being aware of how you respond when you're frustrated or angry can be critical to your leadership communication. That was number 4. Number 5 is to be aware that your small, informal communication with employees can actually be as important, if not more important, than your more formal communication. So when you're doing a presentation in front of the company, people know that that's scripted and practiced. But when you're having a casual conversation at the coffee bar or in the hallway, people may see that as the more authentic you and the more real you. So how you show up in those small situations matter, and to be aware of that. Number 6 is to ensure that the company values are reflected in the communication planning process. So if you say as an organization that you value transparency, ensure that your strategies and tactics and key messages reflect that transparency. If you say that you value fun, ensure that those key messages and tactics are fun. And the last tip, number 7, is something I bring up in almost every video, and that is to ensure that you're working on increasing your self-awareness, that you're understanding what thoughts and beliefs are driving your communications, because that self-awareness will really help you grow in all aspects of your communications and your role as a leader. I'm Morgan Quist. I'm your Thrival Guide. I partner with leaders like you in organizations to help them shift from surviving to thriving. Feel free to leave questions or comments below the video. I'll respond to it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.